Hey everybody, it's Dave Juno. How y'all doing? Happy Saturday night. Happy Valentine's Day. We get the grandkids sleeping over. So, all they stay with us, but they're our responsibility tonight. So I figured I'd make a quick video about a post I saw earlier today. It's about a person had a coworker complain to their HR department because I guess the person talked loud and talked loud. The other person took offense to it, that they were mad or whatever. And it's actually something I have some experience in. I've dealt with this before. Um, like for 2 years, I tried to work, and I used to get customers who complained. 'Cause I was a copier tech. I was on the road. I went to different people's offices, fixed their business equipment. Copiers, fax machines. Way back in the day, 1989, typewriters. What's a typewriter? And so, I've dealt with this. Um, I've had people I work with complain, customers complain. So basically, like I've always said, let your manager, let your boss know that you have a disability, you have Meniere's disease, and these are the things that happen, because it's going to go a lot easier when someone complains, or like in a job like mine that I had, customers complain because your boss knows. And he can say, hey, Dave's got a chronic illness. He's hard of hearing. He doesn't always hear himself. So he talks loud. He's not being mean. He talks loud. And your manager will let HR know for the most part, but a lot of times your manager or your boss can nip it right there. Um, because you got to be honest. And you try to hide something, you're going to get screwed. That's why I tell people, and they say, well, should I tell my boss, or should I say this on an interview? Yeah, you should. You should. Don't hide it. Because, one, potential employer is going to be happy that you confided in them to tell them you have a problem. And your employer that you're working with now is going to be happy because you're not going to be running to HR all the time defending yourself. So that's why I tell you to do that. Now, it's happened a couple of times to me in those 2 years. The technicians that I worked with, a couple of them who didn't know me, didn't or they knew me, but they didn't understand and didn't care. All they thought about was themselves. Would complain, and my manager would say, "Hey, he's got Meniere's disease, which comes with disabilities. You're gonna have to deal with it. We're not punishing him. We're not writing him up. He's very honest with us." And I also had customers that would call my manager and complain. One complained that I was drunk because I was a little wobbly. I was actually fixing a machine and having an attack at the same time. They complained I was drunk. One complained I was belligerent. One thought I was on drugs because my eyes were going back and forth. Um, the whole gamut. And if I didn't let my boss know these things, I probably would have been out of a job. I had a couple of people call our HR department and, say, hey, you got a guy that's coming out to fix our machine. He's belligerent. His name's Dave Juno. And HR knew about my issue, and they would say, Dave has a disability. He has Meniere's disease. He's hard of hearing. He does a good job. He's not being mean. And this is why I say that. And it saved my ass and a lot of stress. And sure, there were a few customers that didn't believe it, and because we get that everywhere. We get that in our own families. People that don't believe that we're that sick. That we have these issues. So it's not uncommon. Um, and sure, there were probably a few customers that said, we don't want Dave back here because he's this, that, or the other thing. I don't care. I still have a job. I get the same pay regardless if I fix one machine or 10 machines a day. I get the same pay. It doesn't bother me. Um, because when I worked, it was 8 to 5 was Rico's time. I worked for Rico USA, fixing machines. 8 to 5 was Rico time. 5 at night to 8 in the morning was Rico time. So After 5 o'clock, I didn't care. Didn't care about much at work. Phone went off, beeper went off, whatever went off. That was Dave time. So yeah, you gotta let your employees know, and don't get upset about it because you gotta understand these people don't understand. They don't know. It's one thing if they know and they're still doing it, but if they don't know what's going on, you can't blame them. It's like the story I said. Because I'm gonna end it with this story I told about. God, it was after my labyrinthectomy, but I've said this story before in other videos. After my surgery, about a week or two later, um, I was doing a lot of walking. Not like 8 or 10 miles. If I walked a mile that day, I was grateful. But it was always, looked like I was drunk. So I was walking a path at a park down the street, and it's about a mile, the whole path. And a woman saw me, and she called the police because she thought I was drunk. And she was scared. She had little kids, and I didn't blame her. And so all of a sudden, cops came, and they were on bicycles. We have bicycle police in Marlboro, especially around the parks. And one of them, actually, the cop that came, knew me very well. I coached his kids in baseball, all that stuff. We were, parent teacher stuff. So we were good friends. We were friendly. And he's like, hey, what are you doing? I said, I'm walking. I said, I just had surgery, remember? Because I just saw his kid. We were at some function 2 days before the surgery. It was eighth grade graduation. It was my youngest eighth grade graduation. I said, yeah, I told you I had that surgery, so I'm just trying to get my balance and everything. He's like, oh, shit, I'm sorry. I'm like, no, what are you sorry about? He goes, that woman over there called the cops. I started laughing. He was laughing. So I was like, he goes, I'll take care of it. Don't worry about it. Keep walking. Keep doing what you're doing. Everything will be fine. I'm not worried. So I kept walking. He biked. I saw him. He biked over to the woman. Told the woman, no, he's a friend of mine. He just had surgery. He's learning to walk again. So yeah, he's stumbling. He's not drunk. And so the woman, I could see the woman go, ugh, like I felt bad. So I did finish the walk, and I was getting into my car, and this woman came over with her kids, and like, sir, I want to apologize to you. And I went, for what? And she goes, well, I thought you were drunk. And I went, hey, I would have done the same thing if I had my grandkids with me. If I had my granddaughter with me, I would have done the exact same thing. She was kind of shocked, and I said, granddaughter, but and I told her, I said, I got 3 kids, one's in the army. Um, and I said, no, don't, that's fine. I would have done the same thing. She goes, well, what did you have surgery on? I said, I have Meniere's disease. Explained to her what it was, and I showed her the back of my ear, which I still had the stitches. And I said, I just had what's called labyrinthectomy. They take the labyrinth out of the cochlear. I'm deaf on this side now, but I had no hearing in that side to begin with. And so I'm trying to get my balance back. And lo and behold, the woman said to me, my mother gets vertigo. And she's losing hearing too. And I think she's about your age. And I said, 52? And she went, she's 53. And I went, oh, well, maybe she should go see an ENT. And I gave her my doctor's name. I said, yeah, go see an ENT. Maybe, something they can do something for her. So I said, here's my phone number. I gave her my number if you get any questions. Text, call me. I'm always around. About 3 months later, she calls me. And she goes, guess what? And I went, what? And she goes, my mother has Meniere's disease. Thank you. I'm glad I ran into you that day. And I said, oh, you're welcome. Like I said, to give my phone number to your mom. She can call me or text me. If she got any questions, you call or text. If she got any questions, no problem. I never heard back from them again, which is fine. But just by me telling people, made awareness. Now I don't know how that person's doing, but hopefully they're okay and doing as good as she could. But yeah, I mean, think of it this way: if you're telling your employer, or you're telling people that you work with that you have Meniere's disease and you're deaf and you talk loud and things like that, you could be spreading awareness, and you could be helping somebody as well. So just to wrap this up, don't get offended if somebody reports you to your boss or HR. Just explain to them what you have and the reasons why you did it. And, print out, get a diagnosis. If they want to see a diagnosis from a doctor, call your doctor, get one. If you're on my chart, it's right there. And just pop it up on your phone and go, see, look. And you'll be okay. But just don't get stressed out. Okay? So, make sure you tell people, and that's going to, especially the people that really need to know, managers, bosses, and it's going to alleviate a lot of stress. And I know there's a risk, but there's also a risk that, they can't fire you if you have it. They have to try to find a way to accommodate you with the Disabilities Act. So don't worry about getting fired. You're probably not going to. Unless I didn't get fired because I did the right thing. I went on disability before they could even think about it. Because I could have lost my job because my job was driving, and that would have been a liability. So on that note, I hope you all have a great rest of the weekend. Happy Valentine's Day, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. Bye.